interview. All right, so Zach, you're here. Welcome to Twitch University. I'll give you a round of applause. There you go. There's Zach right there.
Thank you.
Awesome.
I have a general expectation that everywhere I go, I must have applause. That's a demand that I have of being here.
Yes. So for people who you might be meeting you for the first time, maybe give us a quick introduction. Tell us who you are, what do you do, and where you're streaming from.
Sure. Well, my name is Zach Bussey. Yes, the name is given to me from my parents from ages back. It's not a meme. It is a real name. I cover Twitch news. I cover everything that is happening on Twitch. I cover everything that's happening in the kind of the streamer space. Oftentimes breaking news, leaking news, sometimes just giving my take and my perspective on various news stories. And yeah, ultimately kind of have a goal of making sure that streamers are have access to kind of the best information that they possibly can. I think that one of the most important things in being a creator is being informed about the spaces and places that you do create. And so, you know, if a platform or service is not going to do that themselves or not do a job that I think is good enough, well, then I can fill in kind of the holes and hopefully give people a more rounded understanding of Twitch and streaming. So, yeah.
Yeah, thank you. DJ Cruz One, what's up? Bashy KD, congrats on that purple check mark. Congrats on getting partner status. Well done for you. Hard work pays off. All right, the first question is for our audience here, Zach, like we're mostly DJs, music streamers, and variety streamers. I don't think there's maybe one of us, Jazzy Jeff, maybe that might be to the level of partner status where they have a special deal with Twitch.
Right.
But how does that Bloomberg article in terms of the sub-splits going down for partners affect us? That's my first question. Talk to us about that.
Sure. So I think it's important to recognize that right off the top that the Bloomberg article that came out last week is not anything definitive. It's not like it's absolutely planned. It's just discussions that are happening at Twitch. And chances are those discussions have been ongoing for a while and are probably going to continue to occur. I think as a platform or as a service, Twitch kind of is always going to be thinking about, well, what can we do to make more money? Will this benefit creators? What's the potential downside? Like I imagine they're having these conversations all the time. In this case, based on information that I've heard, these are kind of conversations that are going a little bit deeper, a little bit more in being discussed. And that means that they are of importance. They are of note to warrant a Bloomberg article. In terms of what has been suggested in terms of a sub reduction, partners currently do have a kind of a deal as part of the standard partner deal. Is you get 50-50 on tier 1, 60-40 on tier 2, and 70-30 on tier 3. While it doesn't explicitly state that, the article does kind of talk about top streamers having these kind of exclusive custom deals where they're getting 70% or 80% in some cases, as being reduced down to 50-50. But I think that the general takeaway from it is that I believe that it would be probably across the board, the same way that affiliates get 50% on tier 2 and tier 3, that would probably end up being true for partners as well. So there would be no change in SubSplit. So that's the big financial potential impact for partners and for potential creators. The other thing that would potentially impact people is the non-exclusivity. That is another thing that is kind of mentioned in that article, and that could actually benefit you. Ooh, that's
so we got a 5-piece. Now, how do I pronounce this name here? I don't want to butcher it. Alnu. You got to let me know how to pronounce that. ALNU. I don't even know how I'm going to even try to pronounce that, but thank you for the 5-piece. If you got a gifted sub from our lovely gifter there, please make sure that you tell them thank you. That's real money. The real Mark Brand also, thank you for the follow. We're going to talk to Mark in a few minutes here. So please put how to pronounce your name there so we can do that. Continue on. Another gifted sub. Thank you very much for the 6 gifted subs. Appreciate that.
That's the joy of live, by the way, is that you can just be in the middle of a thing and then somebody drops five subs on you and you're like, oh wow.
Yes.
Hold on. Stop.
I know. What's up, Ty Alexander? Okay, so you talked about like the split for partners. What is your feelings? I know we're kind of, we don't really have anything definitive yet, but like there's also rumor about affiliates payouts going down also. What are your thoughts on that, to like 35, 65?
Yeah, okay. So I've heard that rumor recently from a couple people. I don't know if there's much stock to it directly at this point, but again, I would assume that all things are on the table. Uh, with affiliates, I kind of feel like the 50-50 number is kind of a baseline. If they go any further than that, they might actually have like an uprising that could be
Yes.
pretty bad. And again, people are already unhappy with just the discussion of things, but
Mm-hmm.
to actually do something like that would be pretty drastic. My feeling is that if something like that were to be introduced in terms of reduction on affiliates, it's I would assume it would have to be for new affiliates, so people who are joining the affiliate program starting from whatever point they decide to make that decision moving forward. So anybody who's currently on 50-50 would be grandfathered in, and then perhaps again, then they do mention in the article a tiered system,
Mm-hmm.
where perhaps that's where they would go, okay, well, once you get to a certain level as an affiliate, then you get bumped up to the 50-50. But again, don't really know for sure what may happen. Everything is kind of on the table at this point. So it's kind of a wait and see approach,
Right.
unfortunately.
I know.
Uh,
Yeah.
as creators, I think that the one thing that there is a pretty significant takeaway from this is that I think it's important to diversify as a creator. I think it's important to not rely wholly on Twitch as being your only place where you create content. Now, obviously, DJs, obviously, a lot of the content is live. The interaction of that, the experience of seeing a live DJ, live performance is obviously best done live. But that doesn't mean that you can't have alternate sources where you share big moments or a really amazing thing like TikTok. There's great opportunities to create content that from your existing live content, or YouTube. And I think that now is probably a pretty good time, if you haven't already, to explore those
Mm-hmm.
things, and just try not to be wholly reliant on a single a point of failure, essentially. Because you never know, like the DMCA or music may change on Twitch, and there may be a music reckoning, and they go, no more music on Twitch. I don't think
Yeah.
it's gonna happen. They go, no more
Right.
music on Twitch. Nobody can do it. We're gonna be super harsh on it. Could happen, right? And so
Right.
it's all possible. So if you have a single point of failure, that means that if something bad happens, kaput, you're back to square one. If you kind of spread out where you create a little bit primary platform and then a secondary, then you actually have a little bit of ability
Yeah.
to be flexible.
Okay. Al Nuami, I'm gonna try to pronounce your name. Thank you for all those gifted subs. I think you're still being given 8 gifted subs so far, and you subbed yourself, so appreciate that. Please let me know how to pronounce your name. Appreciate that. Digital T, thank you for the follow. Remember, if you have questions for Zach, put !Q in the chat and put your question. Let's go back and talk about like exclusivity, because what we understand is that there'll be maybe no more exclusivity for partners with a new contract. Tell us, what does that mean? And I always want to know your thoughts on, does that include co-streaming? Because many of us would want to stream also on Twitch and YouTube or other places, maybe TikTok at the same time. What does that kind of mean moving forward?
Yeah. Again, under the context or that it's not decided, there is nothing official. The understanding that I have, though, from people who I speak to, a lawyer, my lawyer friend Noah Downs, and a couple other people as well, is that the removal of exclusivity wouldn't inherently be, hey, you can multi-stream. You're free to do whatever. It would be similar to what affiliates currently have, where when you stream live on Twitch, your content is exclusive to Twitch that you are streaming. But if you end your stream and you decide, hey, I'm going to go over to YouTube now, guys, let's go over to YouTube. We're going to go stream there. Then you could stop your stream, head over to YouTube, start your stream there, and that would be fine. So the current exclusivity deal for partners restricts that. You actually cannot stream any live content that you create has to be on Twitch exclusively. So removing that would be would be a positive change. I think the idea of exclusivity in 2022 is pretty antiquated, and I think it's quite frankly, my personal opinion, I think it's an overstep at this point. And you know, there's a legal discussion for states like California where exclusivity is a no that could be discussed. But just speaking as a content creator, exclusivity just doesn't really make sense when you're not an employee of the company. So I would say for that's a potential benefit if it does happen, but it doesn't inherently mean, hey, you can just kind of stream everywhere all the time. You may have to kind of do pick and choose. Hey, we're going to stream here, and then we're going to move here, and then we're going to move here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cruise One, if you're a partner, you're supposed to only be streaming live on one platform, Twitch. That said, you can't co-stream at the same time. Not that they will check it all the time, but it's just there, and how they enforce it is so you kind of have to pick and choose your battles. So that is actually a true statement.
Yeah.
What about ads? Ads is a hot topic, and we were under the impression that if someone subscribes to you, they get an ad-free experience. That's not necessarily the case. What are your thoughts on ads, and how should we as a community properly manage ads so it doesn't interrupt the user experience? Because it's tough for us if we're streaming 2, 3, 4 hours of DJ set and you want ads in the middle, like that doesn't really work well. What's your advice with regards to that?
Yeah. So it is worth noting that running ads yourself does disable pre-rolls. So if you do decide to do that, then you will not see ads at the beginning of a stream. For somebody who comes for the first time, they'll see your content instantly. And subscribing does actually, it's actually a choice of the streamer. Subscribing does give you an ad-free experience if the streamer chooses to give you, the subscriber, that perk. That is a setting that you can actually check off in your dashboard, that you can choose whether or not you want to have ad-free experience for your subscribers. In terms of how to operate them, yeah, it's a really difficult thing to kind of navigate, especially for like live content. And it's why I'm not a big fan of the current systems that exist for the ads. There's no data-driven reason to run them. You don't know whether or not they're actually the people who are coming in who aren't seeing pre-rolls are staying, or if they wait through the pre-roll. So you don't have any data on whether that is impacted. You don't have any data on what kind of ads they're actually seeing. You have a very little financial reason to do it. The ad payout rates are horrific, all things considered. $3.50, I believe, is the standard that everybody kind of gets out of the gate. But an interesting thing that I don't think a lot of people consider is that unlike YouTube, which gives you an ad split, which is 55-45, on Twitch, we don't know what those ads are selling for. And some people may, and my personal belief for a while was that, hey, it's probably like $10. But I've learned recently that it's probably a lot more than that. So if they're selling ads for $100 for 1,000 ad plays, and we're only getting $3.50, boy, they're coming out nice with that kind of deal.
Yes.
So one of the things that I would definitely love to see is if they change that kind of ad split from the current split that exists, the standard CPM rate, to an actual ad split that gives people a share of how much of what the ads are actually worth. So as a creator, running them is kind of really dependent on the content that you create. If you can take breaks, perhaps that's the best thing to do, is to take once every hour, take a 90-second ad break, just to disable pre-rolls for a little bit. But again, that's only if you want to. Realistically, if you're doing a DJ set and people are going to be there for 3 hours or 4 hours watching or listening or engaging, then once they're there, they're there. They're not going to get hit with additional ads like a pre-roll if they've loaded it once. So in some cases, it'll depend on your audience. You might not want to run any ads at all.
Yeah.
So it really does kind of come down to, if you have content going that people want to watch, I personally don't see any value in running ads. But if you're taking a break, if you're going, hey, I got to go answer the door, I got to grab a glass of water or whatever, and there's no content that they're going to miss, then in those times, I think it does kind of make more sense to run an ad, because there might be a benefit to having disabled pre-rolls.
Yeah. Okay. I like the conversation that we had today on your stream when you were talking about kind of advice for streamers and you had the graph about going like that. We are so majority of our community is so new to streaming, live streaming, specifically Twitch. It's been probably 2 years or less for the majority of people in the audience. What advice would you have for us in terms of as we continue to, get more experience in the live streaming kind of atmosphere, both on Twitch and other platforms? What advice would you have for us as we want to continue to grow and make this like legitimate revenue for us?
Yeah. I I think the big thing that you can kind of take away, or the big thing that I really kind of emphasize is Twitch is a part of your career. I think it's going to be a valuable tool in your belt of creating content. I don't think it's a place to only create content on. It's not discoverable. There's being found is a lot harder than it is on platforms that do have discovery, such as TikTok and YouTube. Uh, but the benefits of live are immense, right? Like obviously anybody who's being able to just react to somebody who's typing in a chat and they can type back to you and you can kind of have this live interaction, I think is a really valuable. So again, I think it's a really, really powerful part of a career in content creation, but it's not the only place that you should create. I personally am of the mindset that YouTube, if you can figure out YouTube content and short content for TikTok, having that as kind of Twitch as being your main platform where you love creating, where you create often, and then you take the time where you're not streaming to create content on YouTube or TikTok. I think that's a pretty good balance that gives you both VOD discovery, which occurs on
Mhm.
TikTok and YouTube, and live discovery and interaction that really is why I love creating content, and probably you love creating content, is having those kind of live interactions. So uh and then the last thing that I would say is uh looking for ways to not be stuck financially to a single point of failure or a single place. Obviously, Twitch's community is incredibly generous. People are gifting subs, they're subscribing, they're giving bits. So there is a lot of generosity. There is a culture that has been established in Twitch that has not been established anywhere else, of being financially supportive of the content that you enjoy. But I think that with discussions of sub splits and revenue share and such, those are decisions outside of your hands. So if you can go somewhere and you can generate a source of income, even if it's a small amount, even if it's a 10% of your total income on places like Patreon or Coffee or a fan house, or any of these alternate sites that allow you to kind of sell a subscription for something of value that you can offer in exchange, I think that's a really good thing to do. And I think that's probably the case for a lot of DJs. I think you guys have, and musicians in general, you guys have like merch and
Mhm.
uh, CD sales or plays on Spotify. So like I think that you guys do have that kind of the right sentiment going in that I think a lot of content creators, especially in video gaming, don't necessarily have. So continue to lean on that, having fewer single points of failure and diversifying just enough that if one of them goes away, you got another one to fall back on.
Love it. Great advice. Al Nuhami. Hope I'm saying that right. Thank you for the bits. Appreciate all the subs. Also, I have two final questions, then we
Sure.
will let you continue about your day. I love how you speak about how you say the difference is like Twitch is a service and not a platform. Can you kind of review your analogy with that? Because I think that's so right on.
Yeah. It's actually not even my analysis. It was actually something that we've read in a couple interviews that Twitch has done, where they were called a platform, and they explicitly said Twitch doesn't see themselves as a platform, but rather a service. And the difference between a service and a platform, what is in terms of, a platform is somewhere where you can kind of build a career on. It helps you get found. There's reasons to stay there after the content is done. There's a compelling reason to find you when you're not there. Facebook is an example of that. YouTube is an example of that. It's obviously, there's a lot of content that people can find when you're not actively streaming or premiering a YouTube video or whatever. Um, uh, Whereas Twitch, viewing itself as a service, uh, that is a tool that you use as part of your career. So in much the same way that you can use Patreon, Patreon is a service but it is not a platform. You're not going to build a career on Patreon. You're going to use it as part of your toolkit in content creation. So Twitch, again, they see themselves as a service, and I think that if they see themselves as a service, that's how individuals should approach it as well. Using it as a tool, not the entire job.
Got it. And I know that you're going to be covering TwitchCon Amsterdam coming up soon. We're not going to hold this, but any predictions on maybe some of the announcements that might come out of Amsterdam that, would affect all of us?
Oh man. The only thing that and again, it kind of ties in with the Bloomberg article in that I could potentially see that if they do decide to do changes with monetization, I think one of the easy things that they could introduce is a lower time frame of payment. So currently they pay you 15 days at the end of the month. I could see them reducing that to significantly fewer days, and increasing the payment frequency. So perhaps they pay you 2 times a month.
Yes.
And also reducing the overall amount necessary to get that payout. So right now it's $100. Perhaps they reduce it down to 75, 50, maybe $20. Maybe there's like an Amazon gift card option for $10.
Right.
Who really knows? But those are the things that if they do drastic changes, or if they do launch kind of perhaps negative SubSplit changes, they're going to try to package it with some positives to kind of take the sting away a little bit.
Yeah, so we're looking towards Amsterdam to see what they announce that could happen. Subsplits is a really hot topic now. That's why I wanted to have you on to talk about it. And we'll cover all the rest in terms of friends lists and new badges for gifted sub, kind of all that information. But the subsplits is the main thing that affects our pockets, so we wanted to talk about that. Tell everyone the days of the week you stream, and we'll let you go.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. It's fun to chat here. Obviously, I talk about this a lot on my own stream. I stream Monday to Friday, usually at 5 o'clock Eastern. So not even in competition with you. So they can check out me and then they can come watch you afterwards.
Yes.
But yeah, I talk about Twitch news, creator news. We often go off the rails and kind of talk about various things that just random things related to content creation. It's always a good time. Everybody seems to have fun with it, and yeah, I got a great community there. And then the other thing that I'll promote is I have a newsletter on tos.gg, which is a weekly recap newsletter that basically covers all the things that happened in the streaming space that week, and kind of makes it easy and accessible to find out all the things that you may have missed to keep you on top of all the news. So
perfect. So put that link there in the chat. A couple of questions came in, like Twitch Turbo. The way that ads are working, Twitch Turbo will still always exempt you from seeing ads. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, for the time being, Twitch Turbo is kind of the secret best kept, because if too many people start using it, they may take it away.
Yes. So DJ Daz, I know you use Twitch Turbo, so we can follow your example. And then Taco Pete, good to see you again here. Thank you for the follow. He asked, and it's a question that many people have said, even was there a time at least when anyone using an ad block, sub or not, was getting ads? Do you remember that or know anything about that?
Okay. Yeah. So that was, I believe, called the purple screen of death in some cases, and some people did actually see ads. And it was a incongruence or some kind of flaw with ad blockers in terms of how Twitch's anti-ad blocking technology interacted with it, and basically created a kind of a feedback loop of your ad blocker trying to block an ad, and Twitch's anti-ad block saying, well, no, you're not seeing an ad, you're just seeing a bad just a kind of a complicated thing that probably not intended, but somewhat intended. But yeah, there's that still kind of happens to some degree with improperly configured ad blockers. Twitch Turbo, definitely the only true way to really block ads effectively without fear for the time being anyways.
Awesome. So I encourage you to tune in to Zach. So it's very informative. Get his newsletter, join his Discord, just a lot of information. I've been trying to get you on the show for a while. So thank you for finally coming. We appreciate it. We would love to have you back, maybe once you get back from Amsterdam virtually and kind of review some things. So just thanks for what you're doing for the community and appreciate you stopping by today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It was great, and have a great rest of your stream.
All right. Thank you. That's a round of applause for Zach right there.